Failure isn't the end, it's God's invitation to something greater. Have you ever stayed awake all night, your hands calloused from labor, your mind spinning with desperate prayers, only to wake up the next morning and find everything in ruins? It feels like a jagged blade piercing your heart, a total loss, the crushing self-doubt of, I am a permanent failure, and most painful of all, the doubt toward God, where are you? Why have you left me alone in this desert? If that pain is gnawing at you, let the story of Daniel hold you steady. This isn't a hollow fairy tale, it is the raw, flesh and blood journey of a 27-year-old man from a poor countryside, a place where hope is often scorched mercilessly by the sun. Daniel was no cinematic superhero. He grew up in a leaking thatched hut, shouldering the weight of his family at 15 when his father suddenly passed away. His mother, a frail woman with eyes dimmed by years of toil, was his world. His little sister, the light of their home, needed tuition to escape the cycle of poverty. Daniel became the pillar, up at 3 a.m. to till the soil, home by evening to cook, and nights spent mending clothes by candlelight. The neighbors whispered, Daniel is the hardest worker in the valley, like an ox that never tires. He is the kind of person who makes you look in the mirror and ask, if someone like that can fail, what hope do I have? That is the deep resonance. You see your own struggle in his cracked hands. Daniel's dream wasn't small. He envisioned a lush, sprawling farm, rice fields waving in golden hues, poultry bustling, his mother laughing on a sturdy porch, and his sister holding a university degree. I will honor my mother, Lord, he whispered every night, his eyes shimmering with hope. It was a vision of the future, a fire that warmed his soul. We've all been there, believing that sheer effort is the currency of success. For 6 years, Daniel poured every ounce of himself into that dream. He saved every penny from manual labor and taught himself the art of the land. He studied tattered old books and experimented with salt-tolerant seeds, digging irrigation channels by hand. Every dawn, he knelt in the center of his field, hands clasped, Lord, pour your abundance upon this soil. And it seemed to work. The rice stalks grew tall and green, the hens laid eggs like clockwork. Everything was taking shape. Daniel wasn't lazy, he wasn't distracted. He built his credibility with sweat, which only made the coming fall more agonizing. Then, disaster struck like a storm from the abyss. A historic drought. For 3 months, the clouds vanished. The sun became a furnace. The rice turned sallow, the leaves curled into dust, and the roots snapped in the parched, cracked earth. The entire farm, 6 years of his life's blood, withered and died in weeks. Daniel collapsed in the middle of his ruined kingdom, clawing at the bone-dry dirt, his voice breaking, it's all gone, everything is gone. He lost his money, his dream, and his sense of future. But the first emotional peak wasn't the financial loss. It was the profound crisis of faith. That night, under a cold, indifferent starry sky, Daniel screamed into the void, God, why? I prayed every night. I gave everything. Why are you silent? Have you abandoned me? Doubt surged like a tide. He felt useless, viewed God as a distant ghost, and saw life as a cruel joke. He felt a terrifying loneliness, like a child lost in a vast, silent wilderness. That spiritual agony is sharper than any blade, it's the moment we've all faced, whispering, why, into the darkness. The darkest period dragged on, a chasm swallowing his spirit. To survive, Daniel became a hired hand for others. He shoveled manure under the blistering sun, scrubbed greasy dishes in roadside diners, and cleaned stables for wealthy landowners. They looked at him with a mix of pity and contempt. Look at Daniel. Used to dream big, now he's a servant. That's fate for you. Daniel, who once walked with his head high, now kept his eyes on the ground, swallowing humiliation daily. Many stories would skip this part to get to the happy ending, but that is a fatal mistake. To cut out the low point is to lose the soul. It is the darkness that tempers the steel. It is the shadow that makes the eventual light blinding. In the depths of that abyss, a quiet redirection began, like a seed germinating beneath black soil. Daniel crossed paths with Michael, a successful farmer who taught him leadership. Failure isn't the end, Daniel, it's a lesson to look further than your own fence. Then came Elizabeth, a mysterious woman who spoke of hidden valleys of blessing, neglected lands that held secrets of underground reservoirs. These encounters were seeds. Leadership skills, a powerful network, and a faint, flickering intuition of hope. You start to wonder, what is God doing in the silence? The turning point struck like lightning. One afternoon, wandering in a state of exhaustion, Daniel stumbled upon a strange patch of land. The soil was dark and rich. The grass was impossibly green. He dug into the earth with his bare hands, and cool, clear groundwater erupted. His heart hammered against his ribs. Tears streamed down his face. Lord, is this a sign? You never left me. It wasn't luck. It was the reward for the lessons learned in the dark. The second act began, but Daniel was a different man. He now had blood-earned experience, Michael's strategic mindset, and Elizabeth's backing. He didn't just plant, he engineered. He dug deep wells, used drought-resistant hybrids, and built a smart irrigation system. He started from zero, but he rose like a phoenix. The first harvest was spectacular. The rice was heavy with grain, the livestock tripled. The new farm was twice the size of the old one. Revenue soared. The community cheered his name, and major corporations offered him executive roles. From the ashes, Daniel reached a peak far higher than his original dream could have ever imagined. Here is the truth that strikes the heart: failure was not a destruction, it was God's hand of redirection. God does not fail you. He reroutes you. That realization echoes like thunder. The old, dried-up field. It was a door slammed shut to protect him from a limited vision. If Daniel had succeeded there, he would have been stuck in mediocrity forever. He would have missed the valley of blessing that was waiting for him. The lesson settles in like a cool stream after a drought: every closed door is an act of God's mercy. Pain is not a punishment, it is preparation for a greater victory. Loss is actually redirection. God leads you through the desert not to leave you there, but to bring you to a promised land you couldn't have found on your own. Daniel emerged not just wealthy, but with an unshakable faith. Failure taught me to see the perfect plan of my Father in heaven. If you are currently wandering your own parched field, if your career has collapsed, your relationship has shattered, or your dreams are in pieces, stop and listen. Do not give up. God is whispering through the wind. My child, I am moving you to something better. Trust me. The pain of today is the seed for the blessing of tomorrow. Are you ready to take the next step?